I'm your host, Justin Yomut, and I hope you enjoy this week's episode of CNT. Before we get into it, I want to thank our sponsors, the Everett Arthrosots, for sponsoring this video. The Everett Arthrosots are the single A affiliation for the Seattle Mariners and have been hosting a lot of events to help us stay active and not bored in quarantine. So check them out on Instagram at Everett Arthrosots. Check them out and maybe go to a game when they reopen. Now, let's start with card of the week, which is my Freddie Freeman relic that I recently acquired in the past month. I am a huge Freddie Freeman fan, although I am a Cubs fan, but I've always loved Freddie Freeman and really enjoy using him in MLB The Show. And I'm a big Freddie Freeman fan, and he is my second favorite first baseman in the MLB behind Anthony Rizzo. So I was really excited to pick up a relic of his. Now, this week's episode, I know I'm a little late, but it's The Last Dance review, the Jordan documentary. Now, The Last Dance goes through the sixth ring of Jordan's run, and it's dubbed The Last Dance because Jerry Krause, the Bulls GM at that time, stated that legendary coach Phil Jackson was not going to be the coach after that season, and so the players and Phil Jackson decided to dub that season The Last Dance because it was their last chance, and Jordan wasn't really going to play behind any other coach. Now, to begin the season, Scottie Pippen was injured, so it didn't help the Bulls start off The Last Dance amazing. Now, this documentary has behind-the-scenes footage from that 98 season. I think this documentary hit all the right spots and really showed how Jordan was an inspiration and how he is amazing. And it truly showed that he is the best player of all time. And this really solidified it and in my opinion, showed that it's not really that close with LeBron. Now, in it documents the whole 98 season, including the All-Star game with the late Kobe Bryant. The documentary also had some interviews of his former teammates, competitors, rivals, and anyone who was around him or the NBA in that time. And it really goes into depth on what he truly was to the game and why he was so meaningful for this game of basketball. And it really shows it and how he was very important. One of my favorite parts from this documentary was he was up against the Pacers later. And their coach, Larry Bird, legendary Boston Celtics player, one of Jordan's first rivals in the game, was the coach. So the Pacers were just at the lead with a few seconds left. But Larry Bird knew what the players didn't, is that there was still a second and a half or two left. And Larry knew that is way more than enough time for Jordan to get something to go and to take that game. So Larry Bird's all stressed because Jordan has that killer instinct, while the Pacers are still all celebrating thinking they won. So they inbound the ball to Jordan. He takes a deep three, missed by a centimeter. The Pacers win. But that really shows how Jordan has a killer instinct and only needs half a second to make a shot to end the series. And I feel like it's really different and very impactful on the kind of player he truly was and really shows you that he wants to win. Now, another segment of the documentary that was about for an episode was about Dennis Rodman and how when Scottie Pippen returned from injury for the 98 season, Dennis Rodman wanted to take a vacation. So he went up to Phil and asked if he could have a vacation. Phil brings in Jordan and they talked. And they agreed to give Dennis Rodman 48 hours in Las Vegas. So Rodman goes, parties, has a good time. He does not make it back within the 48 hours, which really made Phil Jackson and Michael Jordan very mad at him. And I would be too. But then again, Dennis Rodman is a great basketball player, great defensive presence. But he's also kind of crazy and weird. And that's him. And, if that's what he needs to be to stay in a good mental health, I'm all for it. And I wasn't really surprised when he didn't make it back. One thing that wasn't really shown in the documentary that I wish they were was the greatest trash talk in NBA history, if not sports history. So, Karl Malone is at the free throw line, and he's preparing to shoot free throws. And if he makes them, it would put the Jazz in a very good spot to win this game. So then Scottie Pippen walks up to Karl Malone and says, "The mail isn't delivered on Sunday." And then the mailman went on to miss both free throws to the point where the Jazz lose that Sunday night game. Now, so Karl Malone, the mailman, he was one of the greatest power forwards. He's an amazing player, and I think maybe definitely deserved to win a ring, but Jordan stopped him a lot. And so, and then Scottie Pippen, no fear, wanting to rattle Karl Malone so much, goes up and says the mail isn't delivered, as his nickname is the mailman. And I would have loved to see Jordan's reaction to this, because Jordan is an infamous trash talker. So to see him hear what Scottie said to Karl, I feel like would have been amazing, and I would have loved to see it in the documentary. I feel like it would have been a nice little laugh for the fans, and would have definitely been a really cool thing to see, because I think it's the greatest trash talk line ever delivered in any sports, and it truly rattled Karl to the point where he missed both free throws and was not able to win the game for his team. And I just feel like Jordan's reaction to see it in the documentary would have been amazing to see. Now let's go down to Game 6 of the 98 Finals. Jordan, it's the last game. I mean, it was non-stop action. It was shot after shot after shot. The Jazz and the Bulls were going at it. Both teams wanted it so bad. The Jazz needed to force a Game 7. Bulls wanting to end it right there, right then. And it was a battle throughout and throughout. And then Jordan gets a chance to end the game, to take the lead, to seal the deal. He goes up, does a little push off, but I don't think it really matters. Steps back, shoots. It's good. And that really just shows his killer instinct and that he can knock down any shot. He needs 0.3 seconds to end a game. He is an absolute killer and then a machine on the court. And I would have loved to get to see him play in person, but I wasn't able to. But just watching the documentary really showed me what kind of player he truly was, and that he was truly an inspiration to the game. And I think it was amazing, and I feel like this documentary was amazing, and that if you haven't watched it, you definitely should. And for any NBA fan, you have to watch it. It's a must watch. It was an amazing documentary. I had a great time watching it, and I definitely highly recommend this documentary. Thank you all for watching this week's episode of CNT. I really appreciate it. Thank you for all the love. I'll see you next time. Peace.